Welcome back. Constantine the Philosopher back again with beautiful Luna. And hopefully today we're going to catch a nice sunset soon. Today I was going to talk about a few tips that I learned in life. This subject, is not very specific because I was thinking to talk about the revenge, my tips for revenge, my tips for, friendships, my tips for loyalty, and also tips about, like my opinion about karma, how the world works pretty much. It'd be like kind of tip pretty much all interlinked together. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to tackle this, but I'm going to start with the revenge, which was my initial, thoughts, I see, like last time I went here to the mechanic and I saw the car like completely demolished, the windshield smashed. And I was like, whoa, what happened? The front was all scratched. And it's like, the mechanic was like, oh yeah, the girlfriend, the guy was cheating. And so she, so she responded like that. And I was like, I asked my young naive wife, I said, what do you think? She's like, well, she did the right thing. And then I explained to her my opinion. I said to her, look, from my experience, I say, this is childish behavior. You see, first of all, like I was reading like Mark Twain quote about when you fight, when you try to argue with stupid people, you're bound to lose and they'll beat you with a stick pretty much because they're masters of it. So pretty much when somebody falls to a stupid level, the idea is like you don't want to go to the same level, especially not beneath that, but even the same level is pretty bad. The point I'm trying to make is that's number one rule, don't ever go to the same level. It's beneath you. And my major tip, which is very simple, matter of fact, it's the simplest thing you can do for revenge, is do absolutely nothing. Nothing. Nada. And that's where the karma comes in. The other thing I was going to talk about. Well, guess what? The universe will take care of it personally, exponentially, on the right time. They won't even know where it comes from. Because that's how the world works. Birth, death, night, day, yin yang, whatever you call that. I have no idea about this thing anyway, but the world works in balance. So what you do is nothing. And I'll tell you some examples. Like for example, it took me a while to learn that, I was always emotional, I was always reactive, you always want to, say something. Because, you have to understand like the following. There's nothing you can tell people, people, you cannot explain to them. You cannot, if somebody has a problem, has issue with you, you cannot help them change, understand? You cannot pinpoint the problem. So you just ignore and you just move on. It saves everybody time, energy, and you know what? They're gonna learn the lesson the hard way, directly from other people. It's the best revenge, in fact. It's not even a revenge because that's how the world works. It's gonna just happen, and you just sit and wait. And at the end of the day, it's like you don't even care because it's gonna happen to them. So all you do, even Jesus, when he said like before he left, forgive them, Father, they don't know what they're doing. That's what much he said. Like, those guys are completely retards. Idiots. I'm out of here. Good luck to you. Without me. Let's see how good you do without. No doggy, no. My dog is not very friendly. Look at the beautiful sunset. Sorry, my dog doesn't like many animals. So I learned that lesson a long time ago. I was very reactive. I was very emotional. I was wasting time. I was, getting, it's like people get fired. The same thing. It's like just, let it go. A closed door is another open door. A lost relationship is another relationship coming in the future, exponentially better. That would be probably another tip, that I learned too. That's pretty much connected to this too. That's what I'm saying. It's a salad, what I'm saying, but it's all connected. Where just sit and wait. A closed door is another bigger door. Learn that one. Every time you see something bad happening, or a delay, enjoy the delay. Like sometimes you have some ticket coming along or some bad day, like big accident. It's a new direction in life, a new thing that's going to come in the future awaits you, but you have no idea what it is, and and you'll be surprised when it comes. You're like, wow, I didn't know, like look where I am, like this is the result of many mistakes, many times accepting, defeat, or like, and just moving on. At the beginning I was very sad, like when I broke up with people, or when I would lose, like jobs, I used to work in a Greek restaurant, enjoy there, but then, I realized that, I was young, I was like crying, like, oh, like I was demoted, and I mean, you need the money, you don't know what you're doing, you're confused, you have no advice. But I tell you, don't waste the energy. Matter of fact, take this energy and use it for your own self. Take that for your, evolving, Matter of fact, control yourself. Those are tests. And you learn back. I had a little cut off my camera, had an alert and stopped the recording. Anyhow, so, every drawback is an opportunity to reflect. Take this moment, it's not pleasant, it's going to be painful. Matter of fact, get sad, cry for a second, but let it be, let it go. Don't react, don't get mad at anything, that's how it goes. And trust me, the door is going to open, and a new opportunity comes along. Because nobody, at the end of the day, nobody's life, is perfect. We're all going to suffer, and don't make it, more dramatic, So anyway, to go back to the revenge, I thought like this is childish behavior. This is, you can go to jail for something, stupid that somebody else did. You can aggravate things. You can really, anyway, and then it looks foolish on you because you train yourself to behave like a fool man. So the wise thing to do is absolutely nothing. Matter of fact, what I do sometimes, like I did my father, who was very violent, and I called him after like years of thinking about this, when I could reach him, and I apologized, although it was his fault, because I'm above it. It's not like I'm trying to be like special, but it's something, there's nothing to argue. I forgive him in a sense of I understand, but that's the biggest, in a sense you can say, revenge in quotes, because I'm not really. I have no hard feelings, what can I do, like, I let the universe, give him the prize, like, shitty parent, And the first thing he asked, like, oh, you called me for money? I mean, to show you, like, where the guy is standing, I was, like, completely shocked. I didn't even expect that. I'm like, what? Like, said again, I completely let it slide because I was like, I couldn't understand the context until afterwards. I was like, whoa. But the guy could see in his voice, like, he was like, oh yeah, your mother was great. At least he accepted, he knew defeat, he realized that, he was a fool. And he fucked up, and that's why you don't want to, let them suffer by other experiences, because that's how they're going to learn, because they don't want to hear it from you. You cannot explain to them. They don't want to hear from you because they don't care for you, whatever reason. They don't want your skills. They don't want your energy. Maybe they cannot get along with you. They don't, they want something else. They're confused too. They have their own issues. Let them learn from other people the hard way. If they cannot learn from you the easy way, let's say if you're trying to explain to them and they cannot digest it, they're gonna learn the hard way. And the world, trust me, as you get older, things get harder and harder and harder. As your body gets more tired and more, more. So that's it. Anyway. So to switch another tip I recommend that I really, really, really highly recommend is with friends. Just have a few. In fact, a couple, like open doors, and pretty much come from a couple of friends. That's all you need. 2 good friends, a couple, one hand max, and be loyal. Be loyal. Don't let people, like, don't let your ego or your, like I said earlier, the revengefulness of you destroy loyalty. Like I saw in the movie with John Travolta, he was a general, and he said a great line. It was like, at the end of the movie, he's like, the worst thing a man can do to somebody else is betray, is betrayal. And I was like, that's a great quote. Because literally, a man, the last thing you want to do to a man is to betray him, to let him down. So loyalty, be very loyal, be very, like, to your friends, be the man, keep it like gold. This is like your pretty much your open doors, your backup plan, the place you can share your, everything you gotta share, without having to worry. Like I said earlier about betrayal and, like an ex crazy girlfriend or whatever, who knows what, what I'm saying? Somebody who, or or a stranger. So just be very selective, and trust me, many friends are going to come like in my life. You always think, oh man, like for example, this guy, he's so, people always. I mean, we all do the same. We all want something from somebody. We all want, like the people who watch this video, they want to learn something. I'm making the video to teach something. I want to share that. It's always a want. We want something. That's what we do. We're human. We like to, exchange with social beings. So what we do is that. I lost my thought now. Looking at the trash, I was trying to pick up because I like to pick up trash. Anyhow, so everybody, So anyway, your friends, pretty much, what I was trying to say is that they are friends for a reason. Maybe to supplement something that's missing. For me, I like to have a smarter friends because there's not really smarter friends because they can be smart in some things and pretty much not smart in everything. So they might be lower in some other things. So they could be, for example, smart in finances, but they could be like very bad in parenthood or or I don't know, like managing, like I don't know, cleanliness or their their workout or maybe their diet. So but it helps to have a good friend, to be loyal. Like here, for example, I'm here because I have like good friends that I can rely in America to make this happen, to and even and also I think is the members in your family. Right, now the tip, do the same with your member of the family. Have good relations. Like it's hard sometimes. There's a lot of trauma in the family, especially my family, completely out of control. But this is worse. So keep good relationship. You can keep it like diplomatic, not to be like best friends. I mean, just have like in your family, be understanding. That they're part of your blood. Hello, Mr. Ducky. Sorry, the cats and the duck here. Look at this. Mr. Ducky and Mr. Katie. Don't scare the cats. Hello, Mr. Duck. How are you? So pretty much today is about managing, kind of like, controlling your behavior, Sometimes you want to be, revengeful to your friends, the best friends. Sometimes you want to, say something or you hurt them sometimes, but just be careful. Don't betray, don't let them down, like Depeche Mode, never let them down. It's the worst thing, to betray a friend. And, because that's what we need. Like I said, the movie said it perfectly, the betrayal is the worst part for a man. I mean, you pretty much, it's kind of like, think of it like this. In life, like I said before, you can be a saint. One day you do a molestation, whatever, you touch a little boy or something, boom, it's over. Your 100 years of, let's say 50 years of being a saint and being nice and giving, and nobody will remember for that, the touching of the little boy, whatever, people, things don't get forgotten, things are not forgettable, like a rape or a bad thing. So be careful your actions, your reactions to things, your revengefulness could literally destroy the beauty you create, so always be aware of that. And like I said earlier, the karma too, the karma, for example, and that's another thing, and I'll probably close there because I just go in loops and all over the place. But the karma, pretty much, like I said earlier, is going to be exponential. So really, do not worry. And if it's not directly, you being directly, for example, maybe the person will not suffer back the way you suffer, but they'll have somebody in their family or an experience they'll see, they'll see it. Trust me, I tell from experience, I've seen things and I'm like, now I understand why this happened to me because I've done that. Yeah. Deja vu. That's what deja vu probably comes from going through things that you've done to other people. And you're like, it will take a while to connect this. The universe works in mysterious ways like this. But it's very, Anyway, today I mumble a lot. I'm trying to catch up the sunset. Unfortunately, no pink sunset tonight, but it's beautiful, quiet. And Luna is happy for this walk. Anyway, the idea is like to be, don't revenge, do nothing. Be loyal to your friend. Let karma do the job, Like, geez, it's like, forget about it. I'm out of here, good luck. And just, have, selective friends, 2, 3, they'll come and go, they have to be something that both of you benefit, like friends, unfortunately, that's how it is, it's hard to find. I don't blame, people that I know, that some successful or something, or they're too busy or whatever, when sometimes, when you're in the position, hire, they follow you. It's kind of like those relationships where you have to offer something, for them to be with you. But at the end of the day, the true friends are the ones who always stay there, in the long run. And that's where you want to nurture that, and don't be foolish to like I said earlier, to do something stupid against them and let them down. And the same goes to your wife, and to people close to you, to your, like, for example, my sister, for example, we are very good. Although we don't get along, we have different characters. I mean, we easily trigger to each other because I'm very nervous and she's very, like, she can be harsh sometimes for me. She doesn't mean to, but for me, and I was very loud. So, but we keep it. I trust her 100% with finance or anything. Any favor, I know she's on top of it. There's never doubt. It never happened before. It will never happen to her let me down. But I remember when I was young one time. I decided one time I broke up. One of my ex-girlfriends, she started cheating or something, or I heard like she was out with somebody else, and after she left me, and I turned off. I changed her password in Google, I remember, or Yahoo, whatever. And then I turned on immediately after she realized. And I felt bad. I'm like, what am I doing? Just emotionally, you don't think at that moment. So you have to be very careful. Because it's kind of, maybe I should talk about anger one day, because that's something I deal with after analyzing. But it's something that you have to be careful. Like when you get too over emotional, and I still am, sometimes, and you have to control it. It's about revenge. Pretty much is about you. Just think about revenge. Is you have a problem, you need, what do you need, first of all, to have revenge? What's it going to solve? Let's say somebody kills, somebody. Let's say somebody kills, my dog, and I kill his dog. What is that going to solve? If I kill the guy, what is that going to really solve? I mean, maybe he won't kill other dogs, right? Yeah, but is that going to bring the dog back? It's not like, or is that guarantee? Or maybe the guy will change and maybe start rescuing. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I'm not God. But you follow what I'm saying. Is that, Anyhow, I think I mumbled a lot. I want to end up with this beautiful sunset. And if you have any questions, how to get here, enjoy your rest of your life. Hopefully come young before you get too old. I think I made it just before. Other people come very late. So anyway. Luna, what do you think? She made it too. She's in paradise. Look at the beautiful beach. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to send a message, and please leave comments what subjects you'd like to hear about, and if I can help you with anything. Have a good one. Take care.